Yavin 4 has never looked better. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Andor-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with Andor Season 2, Episode 7, Messenger. You finally got the button correct last week. Perfect timing, and now you already...
I was messing with my other camera that the YouTube can't see.
Kids these days, I tell you. But yes, no Grace this week. She's too busy being responsible, doing homework, and getting ready for finals and for law school. So no more Grace. But we got the next best thing. We got Drew with us tonight. But yeah, so we're doing a late Tuesday night recording for this one. And the next episode, we'll be doing episodes 8 and 9. So did you look at the timestamps for all the episodes, Drew?
I saw that episode 9 is an hour.
An hour and 1 minute.
Oh,
so that's exciting.
That detail, I just saw 1, which means it's like 50 minutes or whatever.
Yep,
56
but
minutes.
Still, is that the longest Star Wars episode we've ever had?
Action?
Yeah,
probably.
That might be the longest one. So there's tons going on. So I'm super excited for that. But we haven't watched
seen it yet.
We haven't watched 8 or 9 yet. So this is going in blind. We don't know what's going to happen, even though I've been somewhat spoiled already.
Oh, really?
Disney Plus Facebook page already had a screenshot from an episode that you couldn't even have watched yet already. Like, it's so stupid. So I didn't even click on it. So I was like,
did yours do this? Because mine did this. I opened it up, and I had the entire rest of the show on it.
Huh?
Like, they loaded the other episodes on mine. So at 8 sharp, I logged in to Disney Plus, and the whole rest of the show was on there. And I went to go click on. I was like, "What?" So I just went to go click on the last episode for next or in 2 weeks or whatever. Like, it loaded all 12 episodes.
Are you sure you weren't just on season 1?
Yeah, I'm sure, because I clicked on it and it started to play it, and then it blacked out and then went away.
What time was that at?
That was like exactly at drop.
I did the same. I did Red Egg Drop too, and it was like there was nothing there.
I don't know.
It was
weird. I was like,
did you see timestamps? How long the episodes were?
No, I didn't see. I just saw it. I was like,
why are you going to the last episode?
I just wanted to see if it's gonna keep, because I've heard that's happened before with other shows that they've accidentally like uploaded them all. And I was like, I'm gonna see, and I clicked on it, and then I was like, what? The last episode, and then it disappeared. I was like, right. At the opening thing, and just like disappeared. I should have looked at I should have screenshotted it.
And then anyway, so that's what spoiled on Facebook, just like a screenshot of a video. So I didn't even click on it. And then Andrew is so lame. Like, he's already like,
he didn't spoil anything.
For me, it is because now we know something's going to happen next episode.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but every episode so far has been like set up, like a lull in the middle of this arc.
Oh, like episode.
But now we know something big's going to happen, so we already know what's going to happen.
More intense than all 3 last week.
So whatever. Andrew just doesn't get it. He always spoils. He thinks he's not spoiling, but he does spoil.
I'm not going to say anything, but oh my gosh, episode 8. Like, bro, you did say something. You said all the things.
Everyone go spam him on his YouTube and Instagram and shame him for spoiling. Yep.
I wanted to write to him. I was like, so you're going to be on tomorrow night then?
Oh, gosh, dude. I feel like if he's on it, it's going to be another 4-hour episode. There's no way.
Well, I probably won't be on. I'll just let you two do it.
Oh, gosh. But whatever. Anyway, we gotta get going. We got a lot to cover. It was a shortest episode of the season so far.
It's like 40 something?
43, maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I didn't really feel that short though.
It's like It's starting to get harder to do these how I'm doing like character arcs because like now they're all coming together, they're all
Mm-hmm.
overlapping. So we're gonna kind of like um, go two at the same time, kind of. So we'll just do the Andor Yavin stuff second because there's only really two things going on really. So you got stuff on Yavin, and then you got stuff on Gorman, and then at the end, like the Cassian and the Gorman
We
stuff.
get some stuff though in the Senate ish.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna lump that in with the Gorman stuff because it's only the same thing. So I'll just jump into it. So
First of all, did you like the episode?
yeah, super intense.
Yeah.
Crap's gonna hit the fan really quick.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted us like keep watching, but I can't. I got to for the fans. I got to not watch until tomorrow. But so we have the BBC doing news reports from
Yeah, I
Gore.
didn't really look.
I liked it because it's like so many times in like movies or shows, like you hear like the British accent newscaster broadcasting on some major world event like that's tragic or something, and it was doing it here. I don't know. I remember it's like the movie Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson. Remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a scene in it where like British broadcasters or whatever are like reporting what happened, and I just remember like just thinking of like when I was a kid watching it, like when the accent on the news is going, it's a big deal type of. I kind of had to flashback to that kind of watching this. So what it was cool because you had multiple news people and there's kind of like reporting on what's happening on Gorman, and I think when I watched it with the subtitles, it said Imperial News or something like that.
Yeah.
These are actual. So obviously these are planted people that are giving a script, which isn't really far too off from reality in our world. Everything's scripted with the news. So like, but obviously
I kind of wish one of them would have had a different language.
that would have been cool. But the Empire is all about
Yeah,
uniformity.
that's true.
Everyone needs to learn basic type, unless your
It would have been cool if there was
species
like
can't.
Hutties or something.
Yeah, you had a hut with a microphone there.
That would have been cool.
Well, Outer Rim News, like Cassian later on
Yeah.
says he's part of Mid Rim News, so it could have been Outer Rim News, would be kind of funny. But yeah, they're just reporting on a bombing that happened at the facility, the Imperial facility that was built there from last arc that was there
A year ago.
a year previous. So now this is 2 BBY. So I think next arc next week will be BBY like 3 days or something like that. I think
True.
because it's supposed. They say for a long time ago they said it's gonna go right into Rogue One, so you can't do something a year before. So I think it's gonna be just a few days before Rogue One starts. But yes, so the newscasters they also say that there's a curfew now, which I thought there was like a little contradiction because later on when Wilmon and Cassian are there and the curfew's going on, Cassian's like, well, when did this start happening? And Wilmon is like, well, it's been a few months now. So unless they just are just restating that there's a curfew anyway, but I don't
I
know.
think no, because didn't it say in the newscast that even though there was a curfew, that there
Maybe
was
that's
still
what they said.
bombing? Yeah, I think it was like stating like they were breaking the curfew.
Right. That could possibly be. Um, now we're gonna jump to the Mon Mothma scene because there's some overlap with like the news stuff. So she arrives at the Imperial Senate on her limousine thing and lands and gets out with her assistant guy. And as she's walking in, the driver Clovis, that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Oh, do you plan on going to the office today? Like, we gotta like submit you know, scheduling for parking purposes or whatever. And they're like, Mon Mothma was like, that's weird. I've never done that before. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And then
She's like, it's a nice day. I'll walk.
all right, because it was a nice day in Coruscant. And as her and her assistant turn away from the driver, she's like, I want to request a new driver. And the assistant's like, no, they might actually replace them with someone who's smart. So they're like, just stick with the clueless driver that's not really doesn't know what's going on. But now we know kind of that this assistant guy knows about Mon Mothma and what she's
Yeah,
doing. It kind of
he's
implies
clearly
it.
involved too.
Now we already know that he's with her when she does escape and run away and gets in Rebels and with in season 3 of Rebels. So like we knew that was coming, but it's cool to like see like he's actually like by her side now, helping her do stuff. We don't know exactly what he does exactly, but he's there doing it. So it's kind of cool. And so as they're going into the Senate building, you hear more news reports and all that jazz, and then they have to check in through. I'm assuming that's how it's always been, but I liked how they paralleled that with like checking in on Yavin. That's their new policy now on Yavin is you got to check in, which was interesting. And then like also on Gorman, like news people have to like check in and register type of thing. So it's kind of cool that like there's that parallel of like all three like places are all doing checking in. Like everyone's kind of on edge. What's going on? Who's who? Like even that Force hero lady, like who are you? Like do I know you? Like she's checking in, kind of. I don't know. I thought it was kind of a interesting parallel throughout the whole episode. So her and her assistant get in, and they run into they didn't run into the senator from Gorman. His name is Orin. He's just waiting. I have been waiting for you, and I just want to say, Mothma, thank you for all you've been doing. You have always been encouragement. Your fight for us and your efforts in the Senate. Like I am very thankful for. Blah blah blah. And like he and Mon Mothma both know that this firebombing was a lie. Like this wasn't rebel activity. Like they kind of implied that. And Mon Mothma says, "Well, we're trying to do a petition." Blah blah blah. And they just kind of like roll their eyes, like it's just a formality. And he's like, something like, "Failed legislation is not enough to discourage me these days." Like he's just used to it so much. So he just gave the thanks and said, "Protect yourself." And then the fear on her face, I was like, "Oh, we know she's leaving in a day or two. She's running away, escaping for her life." So I don't know. That was a scene. Mon Mothma, Genevieve O'Reilly, super amazing acting in this scene.
So good.
Great. If she doesn't get an Emmy, I'm gonna be very, very mad.
She's a beast.
Honestly, like I just want to like. I feel like of all the Star Wars actors, I want to meet her. I don't know why. She's just that good. She's the best.
It, dude.
Like, I'd rather see her than Hayden Christensen. I feel like.
Okay, no.
Yeah, all Star Wars actors, like Hayden Christensen is great.
She's legit. I want to meet this cast.
I don't know if they're ever going to be on a panel ever again. Especially 2 years from now, next time there's a celebration, they're not going to be there.
They're not going to be a celebration. But
so like if you wanted to
meet them, the con circle.
Individually, but like all together, that's like all 4 or 5 Spice Girls all at one time on stage. Like that's not going to ever happen again.
Jeremiah's dream of the Spice Girls.
I don't know anything about the Spice Girls. I saw a clip that say like they're never in the same place at the same time, type of thing.
He would bring up the Spice Girl out of everything.
But yeah, that's my Mothma stuff. So going back to Gorman. As the news reports are going on, like people are talking and stuff, Cyril is walking through the memorial area, and he has a worried look on his face. And the thing that I noticed about him in this first scene and throughout the episode, like his hair is kind of messy. Like, it's very interesting that, someone who's very, proper and wants every hair. Like last episode, like when he's like shaving in the mirror, he's like feeling, can I feel any little hair that I missed when I was shaving? And now his hair is like all not combed and slicked back like it normally is. And I think it might be a little foreshadowing of like his hair is falling apart in a sense, like, and he as a person is falling apart, like he's not the same person anymore. So I think he's turning next episode. I don't know. We'll see. Or the next 2 episodes, somewhere in there.
So now you're on the serial grind. You think he's gonna turn?
Yeah, I think he's good. I think part of me wants to think Dedra is going to turn too. She was like, she seemed a little. We'll get to it in like a moment, but like, she was
That would be kind of
very.
cool, actually.
She was kind of like afraid of what was going to happen. Like, it almost seemed like she didn't know, because I might be able to get into it. I guess that's next in my thing. Like she's waiting at like that comm station, and Partagraz goes in and he's like, "Time's up. The Empire has not found another mineral, or could not do a synthetic mineral to like replace this calcite that we need to mine. So time's up. We're going in. The fleet is on its way. It will be there in 48 hours, and they're gonna do something. We kill everyone. We all know that's gonna happen. But like, she seemed very
distraught
about it, like scared about it, like almost like this is the first time she heard that this could happen, which is interesting. Like, she's been working on this for 2 years now.
Yep.
And she's learning now.
Her boo thing has been undercover as well.
Right. But it's like, this is the first time like she's kind of aware that the Empire's going to come in and kill everyone. Like, because they were kind of like tossing back and forth, like relocation and stuff. Like that was kind of like talked about before, in like the first arc, with Krennic on that planet or whatever, that mountain snow planet or whatever. So it's like, I think she's been this whole time thinking, oh, we're just going to like drive these people out. We're going to relocate them, and then we're going to like destroy the planet. So I don't know. I think there's a chance that she might turn as well with Cyril. But let's wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be sweet. I think Cyril, he's pissed. He is not happy that he feels like he wasted his time.
Right, but it's kind of confusing when we'll get to it. I was kind of confused on what he was like looking like. I don't know. We'll get to it in a second. But Paragraz mentions that a guy named Kaido is coming, or he's already there. He has that one with the guy with the scar on his cheek, which is kind of funny because we've been watching The Last of Us, and they have the scars.
Watched the last episode.
Well, you saw the second episode when you see the scars. So like they have the scars on their cheek. I was like, what's going on here? Is Ellie going to show up and save the day or what?
That weird cult with the little girl that has a scar on it. That was so distraught.
All of them had the scars on it. Like
so weird.
What the did you ever get that far in the game?
I don't think so. I don't. If I did, I don't remember that part.
Yeah, they're kind of crazy. Those dude, the whistles. So you saw like the whistle in that like episode when they're whistling. Dude, that happens in the game. Like you're sneaking around in the woods. You see them in the distance, like you're trying to, and then you'll just start hearing them all whistling because they saw you.
Oh heck, dude! I need to play that.
And then, like I have my surround sound system, so you hear the whistling from all 4 different directions.
That's actually pretty cool.
You start running like. I remember like first time it happened, it was so scary. But anyway, this is Star Wars, not The Last of Us Part 2. So this Kaido guy, he's there for like crisis assessment. Like he's there to like implement the crisis. I don't know. It's kind of confusing exactly what he's there for, but he's calling in troops. Like more and more troops and people are coming to the planet and they're gonna like do something. We don't know exactly how it's gonna play out, but he's in charge of that. Um,
And they're like babies.
yeah, we'll get to that one. But um, yeah, so he's like in Dedra's office, and then the other ISB guy is that was their last episode or last arc from ISB is there to kind of like watching her office, and then Cyril comes in like, where's Dedra? Blah blah blah, and they won't give any answers. And so Dedra leaves that call with Paragraz, and Cyril's like in the hallway by her anyway. This happened to be right there. So he starts asking her, hey, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And Dedra is basically like, we need to get out of here. And Cyril's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, these outside agitators. And she's like, yeah, that's what we're kind of trying to do. Like, we're trying to track these people down. Like, it's because she's like, yeah, they think there's outside agitators. So, like, she knows they're planted by the Empire. He doesn't know that they're planted by the Empire.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, great, we found them. Like, the Empire has the information we need. Like, what's the big deal? And she's basically like, you need to get off this planet ASAP. We'll be leaving. We're going to be rewarded for what we do here today. Because Partagrez is like the Emperor is like he's watching what's going on. He's like part of the planning of this type of thing was implied. And so it's like she was put on this assignment, and it was implied, you know, if she just does it, she will be greatly rewarded. Partagrez says that to her like in the second episode or whatever it was. And so she's like, yep, we'll go back to Coruscant and we can finally be together. Like, we'll be rewarded. And then, like, she kisses him.
Awkwardly, like super aggressive.
It was still like a more of a real kiss than that kiss last episode. And it was like that weird, like, cheek kiss, whatever that was. Like,
yeah, it was just like,
yeah. So she's like, and then she's like, do what I tell you, and then she storms off.
yeah, listen to me.
Yeah. So then next, like, she's like in her apartment or office or something, looking out into the courtyard where the thing is, and it's just like a scene where it's just her looking out, like, worried. It's dark outside. She's worried. She's just kind of like staring out and just like, what's going to go on? What's going to happen? Am I going to get rewarded? Like, I think I am. And then it jumps to the Gorman people, like our rebels that we learned of last week. They're in the basement again, and they're just arguing. Like, some people want to be aggressive, some people want to, you know, fight back. Others want to like continue to be peaceful, and they're just arguing. And then that one guy that was at the meeting and then is responsible for Cinta's death, we should blame him. He just tells everybody else stop, and it's like, what's happened to us? Like, what are we doing? We're arguing. Like, the Empire's laughing at us, and like, we're trying to save Gorman, but like, if we, you know, compromise who we are and we don't be true to who it means to be Gorman, like, what are we trying to save? What are we fighting for? So like, I don't know exactly what he was calling for, because like,
yeah, I don't know.
The normal thing was for them is they're just so peaceful. So it's like he was taking the side of Rylands to be peaceful. Mm-hmm. But they seemed all kind of like, yeah, look, we have become. Like, we've become the very thing we said we would destroy, type of thing, kind of like an Anakin thing. So they're just arguing, and then there's kind of like they get a little bit of a peace break, you know, whatever. And then later, Cyril stops Enza in the street during curfew. I was like, hey, we need to talk. I needed to see you. She's like, well, take a good look. Like, she must think that he's crushing on her or something. I don't know. Maybe in the past year, he's kind of like put on some flirtatious things with her to
they
get
had
more
something
trust.
going on, or
something like that. Maybe they'll do a book on that. Chronicles of Cyril. And so he's like, one of my sources on the inside is saying that that you guys are working with outside agitators, Like, they're causing this, and she doesn't like that, and then slaps him and runs off. So, like, she knows, the rebels know that there's no outside agitators. Like, they know that they're being set up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they get it. But, like, he's still oblivious to what's actually still going on, which is kind of like the crazy thing. Like, he's been working with these people, but he still doesn't get it. He still thinks the Empire is good.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he's
I don't think he knows. I think that's why he's gonna turn, because he's so oblivious to the actual thing that's happening, which is why I think when he finds out, then he's gonna feel like he's been betrayed again, like his first job.
right? Because
And so
they said that last week when they got like his file, like he was a prime candidate to join their cause because he's been betrayed by the Empire, and so
so when he
like
gets betrayed again, and then it's also someone that he loves is in on it and he doesn't know, I feel like he's gonna
yeah,
turn.
because I think he does care about these people.
Yeah, I think at this point it's been what, 2 years that he's been there.
Right.
So I feel like at this point he is actually caring about them, which is why it's important and why he's kind of in shock that he has to leave. And then, like, yeah, because the drastic from last week to this week, and like how he was so like gun ho and excited that he was like undercover, and his mom didn't even know that he wasn't with his girl anymore, to the point where now it's like, like you said, like he looks run down, like he looks like he's like his hair's all messy. He doesn't. He feels broken more. So I feel like once he realizes that he's also been lied to by the Empire, and it's gonna break him, I think. Which I think I'll like his character again. Like I'll actually like his character
So
if
I'm
that
gonna
happens.
sway you.
If that
Like,
happens and he becomes good, and like, I don't know. If he has like a redemption arc thing, I think what's really gonna throw this all off though is when they see Andor.
oh yeah,
I think that's what's going to potentially make them not turn, because Andor is going to be there, and then they're going to see him, and it's going to throw everything off. And like their goal of doing this to potentially get back to their real goal of finding Andor and stuff, once they see him, they're going to be like, "Oh, he's here. He's the agitator." Like Cyril might think that. So
could
I
that
don't
would be
know.
interesting if Cyril like has a moment where he thought he found the outside agitator.
Hmm.
Because like we definitely have to get a scene where those two see each other
Oh yeah,
like face to face.
and
But
I think
like
it's going to be a casual bump into each other, or he Andor's gonna kill what's her name, and then Serial is gonna like go to her and then see him.
yeah, but so he's supposed to like sniper her to like from across
Yeah, but
the.
she's above him.
Yeah, but he was zoomed in on the room. He has a direct line of sight, and I
I
think
thought
the
she was above him. That's when he had the mirror out and he looked up and she was up there with troopers.
no, that was just two troopers talking. That's why he was
Oh, I thought
worried
she was
because
up
like if he
there.
makes a shot,
They're
there's
gonna know.
troopers right above him.
Oh, I thought
Because
he got
remember him and
accidentally placed in the wrong spot.
no, because remember him and Will were talking. And he's like, yeah, it's the. They point and they look over at the big round building, like it's the second floor, third
Hmm.
window set of windows or whatever it was. And so and the thing is, like, I think it's set up like that guy, the bellhop guy, is in on it too.
Because he recognized him, which was really cool.
Right. Which was
That
very,
conversation was cool.
which is kind of weird because I think this is not the first time Cassian has gone back to Gorman.
Yeah, it seems like it.
But we'll talk about that later. But like, I'm wondering though if like he's going to if Dedra is going to get killed by him like from a distance. Like she never sees Andor. She never
Mhm.
gets like that conflict or whatever. She just happens to get assassinated. and then later on, Cassian and Cyril see each other for whatever reason. So, but it could play out different ways. Like, because I think Will also said something like if something doesn't go right, meet right here with me or something like that. So it's like kind of implying that it's not going to go the way they planned it to because it's Star Wars. Like nothing's going to work. But I don't know. It's going to be crazy how it plays out.
It's gonna be fun.
I don't know if it's going to be fun. It's going to be intense. But so then the last like scene on Gorman that is kind of a standalone scene. This new like squad arrives, and like I don't know what kind of troopers they like what they are because they don't have like armor on. They're just like in black jumpsuits or outfits or whatever uniforms, and like that what's the Kaido guy that's like yells to everyone to line up, fall in. And they're all like sloppy. Like some of them don't have their hat on, they put it on, and they're just like I was like, what's going on? Like something's off. Like who are these people? And then um like their commander was there, and so Kaido goes up to him and is like, "Hey, tell your men to get their act together." He's like, "Well, there's not any men in here."
Yeah.
And then that Kaido guy's like, "Are we gonna have a problem?" Oh, sorry, sir. Duly noted. It won't happen. No problem free here. And he, tells everyone to like, attention or whatever, turn left or whatever the call is. And it's like they're not all in a straight line in rows. They're like not turning in unison. Like,
Yeah, it's bad.
But what I'm trying to think, what is it Star Wars or is it some other show where it's like they sacrifice like a crap brigade of troopers or do you know what I'm talking about? Like, there's some show or movie. I can't remember if it's Star Wars or not. It's not a movie, but like they like order like these, and like something like the one of the main characters like saves them, like so like like redirected to different. Is that Star Wars?
I don't think so. I don't recognize it.
Anyone in the chat listening? Anyone on the internet listening? What show am I thinking of? Because like they're gonna like send in like this crap weak team of like new troopers or something to be sacrificed in some battle. But
That could be
then,
so many things.
like someone like one of the main characters like fights for them to like be saved or something, so they don't get like thrown into the fire, basically. But whatever, I can't remember what it is. If you can remember what it is, let me know in the comments or message me on Discord or something. But I think that's what these people are. They're calling in like kind of like the B squad because they're so crappy at what they do that if they get decimated by, outside agitators or a terrorist attack, like there's no loss.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was. It was the live action Airbender, Last Airbender.
Oh.
Remember? Because
Yes,
Zuko like
Mhm.
fights for them to like not get. Okay, that's what that was. Okay. Maybe Zuko will show up and save these people. I don't know. But yeah. So I feel like all these guys are gonna die. I feel like a lot of people getting called into this planet are probably these B
New
squad
kids.
new
Yeah.
kids that are expendable because they need it to look like there's they're
A
getting
bigger
attacked,
thing. Yeah.
and they need these people to die to like create the story. So, and like Dedra is like watching like, who are these schmucks? Like, why are they here? Like these people are
She's like,
terrible.
yeah. Well, she pretty much. She said, "Why are there? Why do we have these kids?"
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that all plays out. So that is like the end of like the standalone stuff on Gorman, but then like we'll get more Gorman with the Andor stuff. But um, so we'll just do the Cassian, Bix, Yavin stuff next, and that's all there is then. So during like the title screen, we hear some radio chatter, and it's like a ship requesting to land, and it's going over like an ocean lake thing, and then it's Yavin. We're on Yavin, and it looks so good. Like all these scenes, like yeah, we see it on like in Rebels, like the tarmac and stuff, but like it's super empty, not a lot going on. We see it in
Yeah.
Rogue One, but like it's just inside the temple, basically in the tarmac. So it's like you don't get a lot. But here we saw like the outside, like in the jungle and like the barracks and common areas and stuff outside. And I was like, this is pretty
Yep.
cool. And so the ship that landed was like a group of rebels. I think it implied they're like
New
a bunch of them
recruits.
all on their own different missions. That they all had like a rendezvous point somewhere, and they all like got brought back because you probably don't want
It's
10
crazy how
different.
like a year ago there was not even like a rebel like group.
Well, this is just one rebel.
Yeah, but then remember they said like throughout this whole stuff, like there's new faces coming in all the time, like every day, and like
Right.
can you trust all these new people?
But this is still not the Rebel Alliance yet, though. This is
No,
just
but we're like really close.
well, that's next 2 episodes. We're gonna see. I'm still thinking we're gonna get that live action scene from Rebels with Mon Mothma and the Ghost Crew. So I was looking so hard the whole episode, looking for Chopper, Hera. Like
See
we're
Zeb's big
I'm like
purple head walking
even like
around.
when the ship was landing, like I paused it to see if the Ghost was there because that's in Rogue One is on the tarmac.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't
What
know.
if we don't get that scene?
We're gonna get it.
What if
Either way,
we?
we're gonna get her speech for sure. Like, because that speech is broadcast throughout the galaxy. Like, I
Yeah.
rewatched that episode of Rebels. Like, so it's like we at least have to see her like that broadcast. But there's no way there's gonna be her escaping, and because she escapes, she rendezvous with the Ghost, and then they bring her, escort her. They go on, they get chased by the Empire, and all this crazy stuff happens, and then like they get to the rendezvous point, and she does her speech. It's like there's no way she's gonna escape the Senate and just time jump to a speech without giving some context of like a redacted story of that Rebels episode.
Unless they just like broadcast and they just like not show it, but they can just hear her give the speech.
If so, we'll at least see like the hologram of her being there, but like if they don't want to pay to have Ezra
Mm-hmm.
and Hera, because I think Ezra and Hera and maybe one other one is in the cockpit.
Zeb's in there too.
Is he?
I
I
think the
can't.
whole
No,
crew
they're
is in
not.
there.
They're not all there because I watched that episode. They're not all there. Sabine's not there.
Didn't you
Kanan's
just
not there.
posted it?
Huh?
You posted it.
Where did I
You?
post?
That scene
I didn't post that
in
scene.
Discord.
Oh, like before last week's Andor
Yeah.
episodes. But
I swear Zeb was in there.
I can't remember. But they're not all there. It's Ezra and Hera are the two, and then maybe Zeb. But I know Sabine and Kanan are not in there. But anyway, like, there's no way. My point is, how are they going to get from her escaping
Yeah.
to that speech without showing parts of that episode? Redoing that episode. Like, I feel like that's one of the reasons why it's so long is because they have to tell a lot of her story of her escaping. Because they could just get it to like where they like escape when she gets picked up, and then skip the whole like nebula fire thing that they have to fly through. But that'd be that whole episode, that whole like final like battle scene in that episode would be great to have like a live action
Yeah, it would be
thing,
sweet.
but it would make no sense to anyone watching. But I don't know. I'm super pumped for that. But where are we at? Oh, we're still on like the first like 2 seconds of this episode. But yeah, so all these troopers are getting off. They seemed like they were just like a collected group of rebels that all were on different missions, getting off at one time. Because it's like on the radio when they're like, or maybe just person on the ground when they get off, like new protocols. So like you don't say that unless these people had old protocols in the first place. So these are just people returning from missions. And one person's, this is people's feet, legs that are showing. One person gets off the group and like goes to an opposite direction. I was like, who's this? And so it's Will. He deviates from the group and goes straight into the woods. And in the woods, we have Cassian and Bix living in this cool little cabin hut, tree house looking thing. I'm like, this kind of place kind of looks a little cozy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The bugs would be terrible, but
Mm-hmm.
it'd be a cool
It kind of
place.
reminded me of like a Ewok village hut.
A little bit. And Cassian, he's like, stretching his right shoulder, like trying to like rub it, like he got injured. He's like, what's going on? And Bix is like, all right, let me see. Let's go. Let's take a look at it again. It's not getting better. Stop lying to me. And so he has like a burn mark on his shoulder, and she's like putting like an ointment on it, and he's like, "Ow, that hurts! I'm taking it easy." Blah blah blah. And they're having a moment, and then Will shows up, and they're, "Oh, you're back! Oh, cool! Blah blah blah! Like we haven't seen you in forever." And Cassian's like, "Where were you? Where were you? Why were you gone so long? Where were you?" And Bix is just happy Will's back. Like she doesn't
Yeah,
really
and it
care.
made you think that they haven't seen him since like the last season, or
Well,
like
yeah,
not like a year ago.
like I want to know what happened after he was smelling that, breathing in that rhydonium.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did Saw let him go? I thought he was going to be stuck with them forever.
Yeah.
But clearly, he's had more than his fair share of Saw in the last year because he was very extreme and aggressive, just like. So I think he's kind of playing two sides at one time.
Yeah.
I think he's more on Saw Gerrera's side, but we'll see. I don't know if we can get those answers, but so in the conversation, he's like, I've been talking to Luthen, and he's just wants to know, Cassian, are you ready to work? Like, are you healed up? And like, are you ready to work? And like, well, how would Luthen know I was injured unless you told him? Like, oops, sorry. But he wants to know if he can count on you to get back to work. Like, and this is kind of like now it's implied in this episode that they have all kind of cut ties with Luthen.
Yeah.
And so
Even though he's kind of funding what's going on there.
maybe, I don't know. We don't know exactly how it's all playing out now because there's so many Luthen is so involved with so many different things, like which rebel cell is getting more of his attention. We don't know. But like Cassian has this thing that's like ready versus like planning. Like Luthen, he's ready to do action right now, but like the rebellion that they're at, they're planning, they're waiting, they're building, and then it's like he says, "Do you want to fight or do you want to win?" And so it's like seems like Luthen is getting more and more aggressive in what he's doing. Maybe he's kind of getting closer to Saw Gerrera type of stuff. We don't know, but Cassian's more on this like we got planned more long term rather than short term.
Yeah,
Short timeline.
Cassian's like not ready for it to become a thing.
Yep. But then when we get back to Yavin, it goes back to like Will. He's kind of giving his reports on, okay, I've been on Gore this whole time, or Gorman this whole time. The Gore people are being oppressed really terribly, but he's like, I got some special information though. He pulls out his giant data, like these data pads in Star Wars are so big.
Yeah, they're like the giant
They're
iPad
like
Pros.
they're bigger than like the first iPads. Like they're just like huge. Um, but he's like, I got this information, and it's a file on Dedra Miro, and he's like, this is who we're looking for. This is like, she's the one that destroyed Ferrix. She's the one. She's been hunting down Luthen and all of us for the past X amount of years. And the only person there that like has interacted with her is Bix, because Dedra was there when Dr. Gorsk was torturing her, and he's basically like, this is our chance. Like, she's always there. She's there every day. This is an opportunity to go in and take her out. Like, get that. We don't have to look over our shoulder anymore, basically. Cassiani's like, thinks it's ridiculous. Bix is like not saying anything,
Mm-hmm. It's kind of
but you
hard to
can,
tell what she was thinking.
but you could tell she's like, this is an opportunity that like we should consider. And Cassian kind of like starts to storm out, and Will's like, you're treating Luthen like he's our enemy. And it's kind of like, he's threatened Bix last episode arc, like, to take her out. Like, yeah, he's kind of getting in more and more extreme. So he runs away, and then Will's just kind of like, Bix, like, this is our last opportunity. This is our only opportunity. Like, what are we going to do? And Bix is kind of like very like, I think you're right type of thing. And then we got this weird scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really weird. Cassie and Bix, they like leave their hut and they go like in the town in a sense, like where the other barracks are and where other people are hanging out. Um, and there's a force healer lady. And so, like, the question is she a former Jedi? Or is she just kind of like someone who believes in the force and, believes in kind of like, in a sense, like praying for healing or something?
Yeah.
And, because she's probably 60, early 60s or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know I'm bad at like gauging people's ages, but like she's definitely not young. So like if she was a Jedi, she would have been 40 or something,
Mm-hmm.
at least in her 40s. So it's like, I don't know,
She could have
kind of
been one
weird.
of the library girls.
Yeah, but they would have all been Jedi anyway, though.
I
I
know.
guess there was civilian workers in
I
the.
think she was a Jedi, dude.
I don't know, because there's like, we'll get to it, where it kind of seems like it implies that she was, but I feel like if she was at her age, if she was a Jedi, she wouldn't suck so much at her job. I don't know. Like, I don't know. We'll get to it. But Cassian and Bix are walking in, and this force healer like stops and looks, and one Cassian's before like she even comes by is like, did you bring, like, I told you I don't believe in this. Like, why would you bring me here? Like, it's a trap, like, type of thing. So they're kind of arguing about it, and then this lady leaves the group where she's like trying to heal this one guy's shoulder or something. And like she kind of like confronts him, and he's about to leave, and she's just like, no, stop, please stay. Um, before she comes, like Casey's like, it's a good thing Marvo isn't here. And they made a comment that like 10 years earlier there was an interaction with a force healer.
Mm-hmm.
And so like Marva must have like either sought out, or like a group of people on Ferrix sought out and used a force healer that failed to heal someone.
Mm-hmm.
And there must be like a bitterness of like, these people aren't real, or like someone like, used that as like a show. Like they said they were a force healer, but they never were. So like maybe they spent a bunch of money to like bring a force healer in. I don't know, but there's some sort of resentment there. Part of me want to think that was
That guy.
Barris, Offie. But I was like,
Oh,
no, she was good at healing people. That's why she drained her body and she looks so old. Unless that's why this lady's so old, because she has been doing
true.
force healing. And so she's actually, 30 right
40.
now. And she aged another 30 years.
That's
But
true. She could be.
um, but yeah, so this healer lady comes in. She's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "No, that's not the right question. Like, how do I know you? Like, there's something about you that like I see in you. Like, I don't know. Like, it's weird." And Cassian starts to leave, and Bix is like, "His shoulders hurt." And she's like, "Yeah, on his right shoulder." Like, how would she know that unless she was told, type of thing. So then they're like arguing about it, and she's like, "Please just let me, whatever." And Cassian's like, "Fine, whatever." And she starts to like meditate on whatever on her shoulder, and she like was like surprised, shocked, or whatever. She's like, "Oh, I just want to thank you for that." And she's like, "I haven't like felt this way in a really long time," which I thought implied that she's because like what she saw in Cassian like made her feel like I haven't felt this way in many years, like implying like he has a quality that she had when she was younger, maybe when she was a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, she sees hope in him,
Mm-hmm.
and the Jedi would have had a lot of hope. But he's like, I don't know, she's this weird cryptic language. I don't know, really confusing stuff. Like, watched it twice, and I still didn't understand anything she was saying.
Yeah, it was weird.
But he runs off. I'll let you know if anything's better. And then so then Bix was like, "You saw something. Like, what'd you see? What'd you feel?" Because she's, you know, kind of believes in this Force stuff, and Cassian doesn't, and so she's like, it's kind of weird because people have their qualities about them like based on their past, like they carry their past, like experiences from their past. But Cassian, he's still collecting these characteristics of who he is, and she's like, I see him as a messenger, which I think is foreshadowing what the Death Star plans, that he's gonna help
Mm-hmm.
broadcast the message out to the galaxy, which I thought was kind of cool. So this lady is to some degree force sensitive. Um, to some what degree, I don't know. So I feel like if she wasn't a Jedi, she's just like a super low midichlorian count person that like was part of like some religious faction that was like forcing on kind of like the what are the people from episode 7, the old guy was like part of like the Force religion. I forget what they were called. That Lor Santeca guy. He was part of like some like
Yeah.
Jedi worshiping cult type thing. I don't know what it was. And I think that's mentioned maybe like in the High Republic books too or something. But I feel like maybe it's some religious sect that like believed in the Force, and some of them could heal, but not a lot. I don't know. And then like the final thing, like she says like he needs something. He needs to be somewhere. And she's like, well, maybe Bix, you are where he needs to be, or something, whatever that means. Um, I don't know. Bix is not in Rogue One, so I'm assuming she's gonna die this week. Um, but it would be crazy if she lived and she was alive the whole time, and like she's like in her hut during Rogue One. Like,
I hope not, because that would make Andor like relationship weird.
with Jin.
Yeah, because it literally means that in a year's time he falls in love with Jen.
Well, that was just in a couple of days, like a year, but it'll be over 2 years or almost 2 years later. Because if it's leading up into, if it's 2 years before the Battle of Yavin, then Rogue One is 2 years away.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's enough time to
Yeah,
get over someone and
you've known your whole life,
have
because
have
literally
shared.
one of the lines was like, how long have you known him? And then she said, I don't know a life without him,
Right. And so I think,
which
it's
means
just
they've known
it's
each
kind of
other
like those
forever.
things, like if you go to like, you know, a summer camp for a week, like you become super super good friends for a week,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they,
yeah.
oh, you're my best friends. We're gonna stay in touch for the rest of our lives, and you never talk to them ever again.
Yep.
Same with like a summer crush or something. This, but like when you're like, what's from Stranger Things? Shared trauma like breeds like romantic
Hmm.
feelings. So it's like Jin and Cassian had shared trauma for a
Hmm.
couple of days. Kind of fell in love, but didn't. They never kissed or anything. They just kind of like looked at each other and embraced each other and then hugged. We never saw a
Then
kiss, but
died on the beach together.
how romantic. um,
Yeah, that's true. I guess, like, yeah, yeah.
um, where are my notes? Yeah. So then later goes back to at night after Cassian leaves. He's taking a mirror, looking at his scar, and his scar was red before, and now in the mirror
And it
it was
was
like,
bigger.
it was bigger.
Yeah, it was like really thick, and it seemed like it was like not as swollen.
Oh no, I just said where it was red is now like gray.
Yeah.
Not,
Well,
I didn't
either
think
way,
it was bigger, but it looked different. And then he's doing his stretches again, and then Bix shows up,
it definitely was healing him.
and she's just like, feeling better. Like you don't have to be
Mhm.
like ashamed to like admit it, like or believe in it. Like if you're feeling better, like believe. She's like says something, just like let it in or something, like she says like that. I'm just like, just believe it, accept it. It's okay. And she said she's had dreams about I think it was referring to like the messenger part.
Mhm.
Like so that was like something that like confirmed something with her, that like sees Cassian as a messenger. Like so, you know, is Bix, tiny force sensitive, like just barely enough to like where she can still get dreams, force dreams, like, or maybe it's just everyone has a living force in them, has some M count some degree, and so once in a while, if you're having some dreams here and there, like it's possible, I guess, for anyone. Um, but yeah, and then the next scene, we see the guy from Rogue One charging
Mhm.
through Yavin base, like all like he's on a mission. He's going somewhere. He's about to yell at somebody. I think this is Draven.
Mhm.
I didn't look up his name, but like it's Draven and Dodana are both mentioned later, and so it's like I think that's Draven. So he goes and he finds Cassian as him and Will are packing up on their way to Gorman. He's like, "What are you doing? You can't be leaving. You can't come and go. Blah blah blah." Like before, like they could, because wasn't it in Lost Stars when Thane was like, "Yeah, I'm allowed to come and go whenever I want. Like that's not a
Yeah.
problem." But that was
Mhm.
like during,
That was like when it was already happening, though.
right. So it's like
They're still trying to figure out who they are as a rebellion.
but like driving here is like, or sorry, Cassian says to driving like, you know, I'm gonna hate it when I'm gonna have to report when I want to leave, and driving's like, well, that day is almost here. Well, implying that the rebellion's gonna be so like focused on fighting that you can't just willy nilly leave whenever you
Mhm.
want. So like I'm guessing Thane, when he said that line, still had to report like, yeah, I'm leaving.
Yeah, he just didn't have to, like, if he didn't come back, he didn't come back,
Right, and
kind
he
of
didn't
thing.
need permission. He just had to say that he was leaving and kind of like give a report
Yeah.
like, this is where I'm going and why, type of thing. Um,
Well, and Cassian said, like the day that happens or whatever, I won't be here or something along those lines, implying that, like,
Spoiler alert: when that does come, he's dead.
yeah.
So he's right on that one. But like the whole thing was about like they're arguing about loyalties. Like where do your loyalties
Mm-hmm.
lie? And that's what Draven's issue is like. Do you have a split loyalty? Like, are you doing two different things? Like, we can't have you playing two different sides, even though they're kind of both on the same side. But it's like, are you going to be part of our rebellion, our rebel cell, or are you going to be part of this other rebel cell, the Luthen stuff? Like, kind of like where are your loyalties at? And that's why you
Mm-hmm.
need a rebel alliance so that everyone's on the same team and everything's being planned
Accordingly.
together
Yeah.
and all that jazz. So, um, and then it's funny they arrive on Gorman. They're flying into mountain valleys. Will's like, yeah, you gotta fly low. And so Cassian, he's just like looking at him, not even looking at forward. He's just
Mm-hmm.
like staring at him, like, what? What's the big deal? Like,
You
can you
told me to
please look where
fly
you're
low.
going? He's like, I'm flying low, just like you said. And then he just starts flying extra low, super fast. Willman is like freaking out. And then Cassian's like, how was that? Was that good? And he goes like, yeah, that was fine. It's kind of funny that Cassian can still mess with Willman a little bit. Um, Next scene, Bix is in the hut doing her Bix stuff, and then Vel shows up. Oh dang! I didn't expect this. So she shows up, and it seems like it's the first time in a long time. And Vel is basically like, "I'm kind of slowing down. I'm not doing big mission. I think she's just saying like how she's like training in new recruits or something like that. Like she's not going on any crazy missions. Like because a year ago her girlfriend got killed and on a dangerous mission, and so she's kind of like weighing her priorities. And this is like the line when she's like, we're not slaves to Luthen anymore. Like he's not in charge of us anymore. We can do our own thing. And so she's like, Draven and Dodana have asked me to talk to you to like check in on Luthen. And it's basically Bix is just like, you don't got to be worried about him. Like he will be ready when he is truly needed. And yeah, that does happen in Rogue One. So, um, do you think what do you think is going to happen with Vel because she's like taking a step back?
I don't think we're like she's gonna have like a death ending or anything.
You think her story is done basically,
I don't think she's done. I think we'll see her like training people or
but nothing
checking
significant?
in Mon or like walking around with her in the background, but I don't think they're gonna kill her off.
I
But
don't know.
then
It's
they
just like,
might.
what is she doing? Unless she like, I just want to know what's going to happen to Luthen. Like, is he going to survive or is he going to die? Like,
He's
part of
gonna
me feels like
die.
Vel is going to like take him out. I don't know, but like that'd be like a
Ooh.
weird
Yeah, I don't. I
storyline.
feel like Luthen is no longer in a lot of people's favors anymore.
Right.
Like he's burned a lot of these people's bridges, which is like another reason why, like what you said earlier, like they didn't even want Andor to go potentially go work with him, even though they didn't know that's what he was gonna go do. But he kind of figured that that's what he was doing because he brought a lot of stuff. So
Right. Um,
it is interesting to like view it like they're not an alliance yet because it's like it shows you how like many ways this could have just blew up and didn't work because like Luthen is becoming kind of like Saw Gerrera, like this, like he was kind of getting a little sloppy, and then you get like these people who Mon Mothma ends up actually working with, which becomes the Rebel Alliance, but like you get a lot of these other factions and like these other rebel cells that want it they're rebel cells and they want to do it this way, Like they're not all tied together. So you don't really get a lot of that in the movies because, like, especially like episode 4 and whatever, like there's just an alliance. Like it's really cool to see how we're getting the development and like how many ways like this one cell decided to do this one thing and not actually join them, or so I think it's gonna be cool to see the Rebel Alliance become the Rebel Alliance, which I don't. We kind of get that in Rogue One, but it also kind of felt like they were already there. So, I don't
Well, the Rebel Alliance is started like with the Mon Mothma speech, but
know.
like Rogue One is the first
Mission.
like mission, first like even that's even stated like in the opening crawl, right, in episode 4.
Hmm.
Like off, they just completed the first like whatever the line is, like the first fight battle, space battle, or whatever it was it said. I can't remember how it's worded. I don't know. That's your favorite movie. You probably have it memorized, right? Go, recite it.
I don't have it memorized, but I did
Oh,
watch
come
it
on,
this
dude.
weekend.
Um,
Which we
but
forgot to say Happy May 4th. Post May 4th.
well, right now it's the 7th, so
And Revenge of the 5th.
and 6th because there's always 2.
And Order 66.
Huh?
It was just numbers. Or I said Order 66. But
Yep. You and leave the math to me. But yeah, so
2066. That will be the year of Star Wars.
I don't plan on making that long,
I
so
don't think we will be here, buddy, but Miles
that
will be.
that would be
Maybe.
41 years from now.
Yeah, Miles should be here. We won't be, though, sadly.
So
Celebrate without us.
So I'd be, how old would I be? I would be, let's see, 41 plus 35. I'd be 76.
Oh, yeah, we will be.
Nah, dude, I don't want, dude.
70 is not that
I
old,
don't,
bro.
dude. I can't. I can barely live now. My back is already bad now. Like, how am I supposed to make it another 40 some
Well, I'm
years?
not
Like,
going to say you're going to walk, but you'll
dude,
be
I'm
around.
good. I don't need to live long, live old. That'd be just terrible.
You
But
don't want to live
moving on.
long and
I
prosper.
no, I, no. I can't even live short and prosper. Like my back, my neck. Like I'm good. Um.
Dang, depressing.
But yes. So Bix is, yeah. When Cassian is truly needed, he'll be there, and Bell is happy with that answer, and she's gonna report that back to Draven and Dodana. So then we go back to Gorman. Final like closing scenes. Curfew's going on. Cassian and Wilmon they arrived into the city, Pelmo, and they kind of go over their plan. Wilmon's just like, "Yep, that's the building. She's in that, third floor, second window, or whatever it is." Blah blah blah. Here's my contact. It's like one of the guys that we saw last arc, and Cassian checks into the hotel. The bellhop is there from last week, and like it's kind of confusing. Like, I was like, okay, is this bellhop gonna like recognize him because he gave a different name? He gave Rane Guja. And I was like, I was waiting for the guy to like recognize him. And like, that's not your name, type of thing, because I thought that was gonna be an issue. But like by the end of the conversation, he's like says the line, "You're gonna have to carry your bags this time," implying that he's been here before.
Well,
So
and he even said, like, you know where to go.
right, but it's like the question is
that
based
just
off
from
his
last
interaction
time?
from last week. That's not enough information to like trust him, like to like know that he's. There's no reason last week that Bellhop knew he was lying about who he was, about being a fashion designer.
Yeah.
So it's like he's had to come back multiple times and done this where he's had a different name when he's checking in, and then he's kind of like used to it. But like he, gives his little, I'm guessing it's like an ID type thing, and they're like, "Oh, you're not registered." They're like, "Oh, I'm mid-rim news," but like, well, anyone that's not registered, we have to give a report. So like all the guests to check in, and it's
Yeah,
going to be
well,
in the
because he
report.
said that the reason why he wasn't registered is that he didn't want to mess or be late for curfew because he just got there,
Right. And so that's
which
kind of
is a
like,
good excuse.
but I don't think the Empire cares.
No,
So I just wonder, is that going to play into anything where because he said they give the report in the afternoon. So it's like, I wonder if like things are going to happen where it gets to the afternoon, they get to report, and like they send some troopers to his room,
yeah,
or
like he and it, yeah,
now Cassian didn't seem too like concerned about it.
well,
He's
because
like, oh, that's good to know. But
I
like,
think he thought he was gonna get the job done before that,
that's what I was thinking too. But
but I don't think he's gonna get that job before that now.
so other things, clearly something's going to go down where he's going to get stopped by troopers, or get questions or something. I don't know. Well, we'll find out. Um, and so he goes back to his room, opens up his briefcase, takes out his clothes, has a hidden compartment, and he has weapons. He has what looks like all the parts to like put together to make a sniper
Mm-hmm.
gun, sniper rifle, and then he also has his double barrel blaster that he's had since season 1. Um, and I wonder, is this the same sniper gun rifle that he had in Rogue One that he was gonna assassinate Galen Erso? I can't remember if like
Ooh,
he had like a briefcase with a gun that he put
uh,
together, or if he
I
was
don't think
already.
so.
I
I think
can't
he already
remember.
had it.
But I was just thinking like, oh, is that the same?
You didn't watch it on May 4th?
No, I only watched Tales of the Underworld on May 4th.
Mm.
Did you watch any of those yet?
I watched the what's it called? The Cad Bane arc thing, and then I watched part of it, but I was so tired because I did this live stream until like 2 a.m. and I was exhausted. And I had to work that night, so I didn't watch the
So you
rest.
watched them at late night like that?
No, I watched it because it didn't even come out until like 7 a.m. or something. Because I looked before I went to bed at like 2, and they weren't on Disney Plus yet.
I think it's 3 o'clock our time. Is when
Maybe I
those would have
didn't.
dropped.
But yeah, so I didn't watch it, and then I went to bed at 2, and then Miles woke me up at 6, and then so I watched the first one with Miles, like the Cad Bane one, and then I was like falling asleep on the couch when I started the other one, so then I turned it off because I'm like, I'm not gonna risk falling asleep. So then I took a nap, and then I was too busy, and then I had to work. I'll watch it though. I was gonna watch it today, but
But we'll cover those episodes after Andor, so stay tuned, everyone.
yeah,
Um, but
no
yes,
spoilers.
no spoilers. But Cassian, he grabs like the scope from the sniper rifle and like turns the lights off in his room so he can like look out there, and he sees the office that he's supposed to go. So it's like her office, Dedra's office, and he just has a scene when like he hears chatter, and he opens up the window, and he uses a little mirror to like look up, and there's 2 troopers just standing on a balcony above him. He's like, oh, this makes things more complicated. So it's like, how is he going to deal with that? I was thinking, oh, is he going to put a potato on the end? It's a silencer in real life. You know that, Drew? You know that trick? For all the assassinations you do, you know how to improvise with a potato.
It works better with the sweet potato, but
Oh, interesting.
people don't think about that.
So all those new assassins out there, take note of Drew's
Sweet potatoes.
experiences. Such a southern. You learned that in the South, right, Drew?
Yeah,
The
it's a
sweet potato.
southern murder tactic that we use.
Um, Disclaimer: Drew is not an
No, I'm
assassin. He has
kidding.
never
I don't even
murdered
know. I just
anyone.
said
For
I
legal
just said
reasons, we have to state that.
I just said sweet potato because they're bigger, so I assume it would work better. But
Yes. And so then, Cassian, he's just sits back and is just pondering. Music gets loud, and that's it. That's the episode. So, assuming next episode the fleet arrives. Now, what is the fleet going to do? Orbital bombardment, something like that? Are we going to see a live action one like that? Because we've seen it in like animated form, and there's always a shield or whatever, and or like when they do a bombardment on like Lothal, like you just see like some crates blow up and like nothing crazy happens, but the Gorman massacre is coming, so we're going to see a lot of death, a lot of destruction, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope. And Andrew already said it was pretty. This episode was crazy. So
Yep, spoilers. But yeah, so there's not much to go over because it's all gonna be entered next episode when we record. So we'll have the next 2 episodes to watch. So I don't know. I'm excited for that 3rd episode. Just for why is it an hour long? There's so much content. I'm
making up for the
excited.
5 minutes that was shorter on this one,
Right. So
or just a
which makes
battle
sense. So
or something.
because I think the 2nd episode
I
is
think
also.
Bix is gonna die somehow.
Well, yeah, that's what we've been saying.
No, I think like the next 2 days.
But do you think it's gonna be? Do you think
I don't
she's
know,
gonna
like,
go to
if-
Gorman, and she's gonna get killed?
Yeah.
But like, why would she go to Gorman? Like, what would her motivation be?
If she thinks that Castian's in danger,
But like, why would she like? Unless it's something like
he gets captured,
the massacre happens,
and then she gets like afraid.
and he's trapped there, but he survived, obviously.
Yeah, but he has no communication with her.
But like, there'll be the news though.
They don't know who died on the news, you know.
No, I know. I'm saying she's gonna find out because of the news.
She would find out, but then she would think he was like
so
something happened.
She's gonna go there to try and find him, see if he's still alive.
Yes,
but I just don't see that happening. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Or Luthen, she goes to go talk to Luthen or something, and then Luthen finally kills her off.
I don't know. I don't. Do you think you mean like he would come to Yavin?
I don't think he's allowed. It really gives off that feeling, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There's like no context to like
Him.
who exactly is here on this thing because it seems like it's more robust than we ever saw in.
There's a lot of
Rebels.
people there.
But one, I was hoping we were going to see live action Agent Callus because I think we don't see him until season 4 because season 3 is when he defects at the end of season 3. It's like so it's like we could see him next week. Like, I want to see him in live action. That'd be cool with his like big, huge like mutton chop things that he had when he was on Yavin.
Even if he's just walking by with like there's a guy with mutton chops on.
Yeah, like I'd make that's him. That's the guy.
That's homeboy.
But that's everything.
Wasn't Rex? Rex was in that Mon Mothma speech. Wasn't he in that ship?
No, I don't think so. No,
I thought he was.
Nope.
Because we know that he's not in this show.
Well, they're not going to sell that he is.
Yeah.
And you got to keep in mind, this was like, they recorded all this, filmed all this stuff like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And like when Tamora Morrison's like, I don't have any projects coming up. Well, yeah, because you're done recording ones you've already been in. So like he could be in it, but I doubt that they're going to have him in there. But I think they'll have the Rebel crew. But we'll find out.
I mean, they already have the cast, so it shouldn't be too hard to get them in one scene.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all we got tonight. No voicemails because we only do those once a week, and we're saving them all for tomorrow night or the next episode. So if you have any voicemails, if you're listening to this by now, like this will be up hopefully before we record, because it should be, because I'll have it put up tomorrow morning. But if you've listened to this already, there's still time for you to send in a voicemail. If you send it in by 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on May 7th. But if you want us to do that, go on a link in the description below, link.co/Empire Radio, link spelled with 2 I's, and then there's a landing page for everything. And one of those links is the voicemail link. And it's super easy. You just type in your name or an email, either one. You don't have to do both. You don't have to sign up. You just type in that, push record, and then send. That's all you got to do. Super easy. Send a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. But also, on that same link, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch for live streams. Join the Discord if you want someone to talk about Star Wars. Join the Discord. It's a lot of fun. And then we have a fan email there as well.
Yeah.
Anything else, Drew?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, you've been listening to another Andor-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.